This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and we are recording live today at the VFW National Home in Eaton Rapids, Michigan. As anyone who knows me can tell you, when it comes to our veterans, I have a deep love and appreciation for every man and woman who has served or is currently serving in our military. With that in mind, I've decided to devote 2 episodes per season to celebrating various topics related to our vets. Earlier this year, I spoke with the VFW National Home's Executive Director, Michael Wilson, about their Guitars for Vets program that they offer. But I also wanted to come back and do a little bit of a deeper dive into what the National Home has to offer. And so please allow me to introduce Angie Harkins, who is a military spouse and program director here at the home, as well as 2 current and 1 former resident of the National Home, Luwann Randolph from the U.S. Army, Shawn Chilcutt, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
From the U.S. Air Force, and Brian Daniels, who served in the U.S. Army as well. Now, Brian is a former resident, but he is also currently employed here at the National Home as their community development and alumni engagement manager. I'd like to welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today on Time Signatures. And may I say to all of you from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for your service and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, before I begin, I wanted to present each one of you with one of these coins. These are simply put, they're coins that say thank you for your service. And I've got to do this right because I know sure as I'm sitting here, Mike's going to be watching this episode. So for you, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Shawn. Thank
sir.
you. And for you, sir. Thank you very much, Luwann. And this is for your husband. Thank you very much. Please present that to him on our behalf. Would you please?
Thank you. Yes.
Now, Angie, I think the best way for us to begin is to talk a little bit more about the history of the VFW National Home and how it began nearly 100 years ago. And I know that you and Brian are going to fill in the blanks. So I'm going to let you guys take off and just tell me a little bit about the home and where you began.
Yes. Yeah, I got it. All right. So back in 1922, there was a woman named Amy Ross who was on the streets of Detroit, and she saw a lot of homeless veterans and felt compelled to do something. So she went to a guy named Dr. Clarence Chandler.
Okay.
Dr. Clarence Chandler, who was the head of the Michigan VFW at the time,
Sure.
and told him that she wanted to figure out a way to help to create some sort of facility. And so that idea went around the VFW for a couple of years, and eventually a generous man named Corey Spencer donated over 400 acres of land for the National Home.
Yes.
And with a little bit of fate, the 1922 World Series Game 6, New York Yankees, New York Giants at the time, got called on a light delay, and the fans were really upset. And so Major League Baseball decided to donate that money to the VFW, who in turn donated it to the National Home.
Very cool.
And that's what got our building started.
Very cool.
I think that started our 3 houses on campus.
Nice. Now, when I first heard the term VFW National Home, I was thinking of a building that very much would be resemblant of your health and education building, where it's just a home with apartments or different things like that. You literally have a small town here, don't you?
Yeah, so we are 43. We have 43 homes on campus.
Wow.
We operate in about 80 acres. We have the community center, the H&E, the Health and Education Building, which was originally a hospital and had Michigan's first iron lung in it. So it was designed for originally 1,300 homes. But when the Depression hit, obviously everything was scaled back, and here we are today.
Okay. Now, are all of these homes currently occupied?
No, we currently have 34 out of 43 homes occupied, out of 43 homes occupied. The 43rd home is the pallet house that we're cutting the ribbon to that in March. So we have 34 homes filled, and we have a lot of people that are applying. So we hope to fill them again. We did have them filled last year at this time. So that was
Very
a goal
cool.
that we set. So we were happy that we fulfilled that goal.
So speaking of that, how long are veteran families allowed to be here on the grounds?
So, a little bit of history before I started 3 years ago, it was a time-based program. So families would apply to live here and it would be anywhere from it was at that time 4 years. But then, as we all know, COVID hit. And so the families that were living here, we gave them a COVID year. So it was 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
When I started, the average that they said families lived here was about 2.5 to 3 years. And now we have just switched to a red, white, and blue program where it takes out that time base and it's a goal-based program like we've always wanted.
Very
So
nice.
the families will come in and they'll work through the 4 phases, which is red, white, blue, and then the transition phase. And so it's based on them completing their goals. Now, the phases are timed, so like the first phase can be up to 12 months in the red phase. The white phase can be up to 24 months. The red phase, red, white, blue. The blue phase can be up to 18 months, and then the transitional phase is up to 12 months. So, but it's all based on the family working through their goals.
Now, as I understand it, when the home was originally founded, it was founded to help women and children who had been left without a breadwinner in the family, a veteran. So it's become so much more than that now, hasn't it?
Absolutely. So like you said, it was originally for widows and orphans. And as time went on, they started to incorporate auxiliary families, which would be the descendants of a veteran. That's how I lived here as a kid because of my grandfather serving. And then up till 2012, I think we had a residential program. And then after that, it was just veterans and their families from now on.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, I want to get all of you involved here. But Brian, I need to talk about this because you guys are truly the reason why the VFW National Home exists. You each have a different perspective because you're here for different reasons. But I want to work with each of you and talk with you about what the National Home means to each of you. But I want to start with you, Brian, because as you said, you came in here as a young man. How long were you here? How long ago were you here? And what does the VFW National Home mean to you, sir?
I lived here in 97, 98, and 99.
Okay.
And I was living in a van with my mom and my 3 sisters at the time.
Wow.
When we found out about the home, which she'd never heard of. We lived in Lansing, but we'd never heard of it. And, it was right before Christmas when we moved in. And so to get Cootie Christmas, which is this big celebration with a fire truck and Santa comes and delivers all these gifts, to have that all of a sudden thrust into my life was huge. And ultimately, the influence for me joining the military was the service that the veterans gave me here, I gave back.
And speaking of that, being, you served in the service, you were badly wounded, I understand, in Iraq.
Yes,
is that correct?
That's correct. My right foot was blown off and reattached in Iraq.
And you went through a long period, according to what Mike told me, of rehabilitation.
Yeah, it took about a year to learn to walk again.
Wow.
And then the PTSD, I didn't even really start to deal with it till 2008. And I'm still dealing with it. So,
yeah,
it's a battle.
Shawn, how about you? Talk about the VFW National Home and what it means to you. How long have you been here? And
so I originally got here in June of 24. I was on my way out the door of the military, ended up getting medically retired and didn't really have anywhere to go at the time, nor did I have that blanket saved up of money because I thought I was going to keep going in the military. Well, that kind of fell out, and luckily the VFW home was here. They've helped me out greatly. I've had a place to stay for the last couple of years. They're helping me out with programs that are getting me in touch with people that can work up resumes and stuff like that.
Very nice.
Everything that they do is working it to where you could go be on rock bottom, and it's almost like baby steps getting you back up to where you need to be, with the fact that you don't have to worry, where's my next meal or where's my the roof over my head going to be. It allows you to take that time to get yourself back up there. And the reason I found out about this is I actually lived just down the road in Eaton Rapids, graduated back in 2009 from their high school, but can't say I lived there all my life. Okay. I was a military brat for sure.
Okay. Luwann?
Yeah, the VFW home has meant a lot to me. In 2022, I was about to have a kid, my 3rd kid, and we didn't know what we were doing, where we were going, or anything like that, And luckily, I heard about the VFW, reached out, And when I got here, it was right before Christmas. So we got here in November of 22. And the first part of December, it was like a breath of fresh air almost, you know? And from there, I felt like got my confidence back, you know?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to worry about where your kid's next meal was coming from. And that's what I was doing.
Yes. Sir.
Worry every day what my kid's next meal from. But when I got here, changed my life for the good, for sure.
That's awesome, man. I've been fortunate enough to become kind of an extended part of y'all's family because I've been here doing some photography and things. And I've seen many of the activities that you guys put on. And it's ironic that you talk about the Cootie Christmas and the different things. But there's a lot of activities that occur in conjunction with different holidays and different states, hosted days, so that the residents of the National Home can also be part of that event. And you seem like you keep the residents pretty busy, don't you?
We do. I think there is an event or activity for every holiday. And then, like you were saying, we have the state days. So certain states come in and they want to give back to our families and do activities with the kids and interact with the families and just give back. So I would say at least once a month, if not more, we have something going on campus. And then the families also have the opportunity to, all the space that you see while you're here, they have the opportunity to come up to our office and facilities. And we say rent, but it's not rent the space, reserve the space so that they can do stuff too when we're not here. So they can use the gym and other places on campus too.
Very nice. Now, gentlemen, I have to ask each of you this question one at a time, and I'd like to get your take on it. Brian, were it not for the VFW National Home, where do you think you'd be today?
That's a great question. So the first, as a child, I really don't know what my mom would have done without this place. And then I ran a business, and my business went under last October and was called by the National Home and said that they had a job for me. And so again, they saved me. And so I really don't know what I would have done without this place or what I would do without it.
Shawn?
I would have had to move back in with family and with a wife and 3 kids. That would put a strain on anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. And I'm just very thankful that I had the opportunity to not have to completely mooch off my parents.
Understood. Luwann?
Yeah, man, I don't know where I would be. I know, like, for sure. If I'd have another kid, my 3rd kid, we had nowhere to go. I don't know where. I don't know, man. For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, I know that you guys have done some extensive work around campus. Roads here have been redone. There's some power poles that have been replaced. Where does that money come from, Angie?
That money comes from, well, a lot of it came from, we got an infrastructure grant from the state of Michigan. So that pays to keep up some of our buildings. Rick, our facility director, has a lot of projects coming up. And then the money to fix the roads was another grant that we received. But the money to operate the National Home comes from our gracious donors. Whether it's just people who want to donate here to give back, or the VFWs and auxiliary in certain states want to give back, we strictly run off of donations. And every day it is amazing to see that these people out in our communities in other states want to give their money to give back to us to help us operate. So yeah, the roads look awesome, by the way.
Everything looks awesome here. It really does. It's a very nice, well-kept place. Mm-hmm. And if people have not been here, they should really take an opportunity. Absolutely. And speaking of that, we're coming up on the 100th anniversary next year. I've heard a lot of talk from your executive director, and he's excited. I know y'all are excited about the 100th anniversary. Rumor has it that you're planning a big celebration. So any details that you can share with us?
So our actual birthday is on January 7th. Mm-hmm. And so that we'll just in-house celebrate our birthday with the birthday cake. And that'll be as our actual 100th birthday. And then we have some other little events in there. We will cut the ribbon to the Pilot House, which is our new house on campus. And then we'll have a gala in February. But then in June, on June 28th, we're having a big community celebration. So nice. I learned that back in the day, they used to do carnivals. I'm not sure if they did them when you lived here. No. But they used to do big carnivals out here. And so a lot of times, Miss Rhonda, who has worked here for 46 years, will get phone calls from old families that lived here and say, "Are you guys going to bring the carnival back? Are you going to bring the carnival
Oh
back?"
my goodness.
And to her surprise, I said, "We are. We're bringing it back in 2025." So we'll have a huge carnival. We'll have rides, entertainment. There'll be
Yeah.
a light show at nighttime. There'll be some bands here. Rumor is there'll be a car show. And there was one other thing, a car show and a vintage baseball game, I think.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Wow.
The jerseys.
Yep.
Wow.
I want the jersey.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So
Very
it's
cool.
very exciting. So that's June 28th.
Now, Angie, you talk about many of the programs that you put on here for your vets. Talk about some of the other services that you provide, because rumor has it you've got a lady here that has been teaching piano lessons for years, for decades, not years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got childcare for the families, for their children. Talk about some of that for a minute.
So when the families come here, we offer, we have an early education center, which is a licensed daycare on campus for our families that have kids 6 weeks to the age of 5.
Wow.
It's free for them because anybody that has kids knows that daycare is a huge expense.
Yes.
So we want to take that burden away from the family so that they can concentrate on other things and not have to worry about where their kids are, going, where they're going to get care, where they're going to get money to pay for childcare. And then for the school age kids, we have what we call our support services. So we have a team, Laura and her team work with the school age kids. So during the school year, they're here later in the day to put on activities in the afternoon. And then in the summer, they do field trips, summer activities, and all that stuff. So, and then Miss Rhonda, who's been here 46 years, you remember Miss Rhonda?
I do.
She does piano lessons after work. So she's here every day. There's days that I have to tell her to take a day off because she won't.
Wow.
She's here every day from 8 to
For sure.
4:30 and comes over here at 4:45 and starts piano lessons. Her story is amazing because she just filled in for someone 43 years ago. She started doing it because their music instructor quit or left. And so she just filled in. She's been here ever since.
Wow.
She never had piano lessons. She never had anything. And she's amazing. So once the kids turn 8, they can take piano lessons. Just last year, we introduced drums. So we have actually one of the dads on campus is helping teach drum lessons. And then Mike talked about the guitars for vets.
Sure.
We have that also. We have Heroes to Hive, which is a bee program that our veterans and their dependents can learn how to beekeep and become journeymen. We have 5 active hives on campus. And that's open to any veteran in the community.
And what is it Mike said you're going to call the honey?
Cootie nectar.
Cootie nectar.
Yep. And that is because the cooties are the ones who funded the Heroes of Hive program and helped us get the hives, helped us get the huge extractor to make the honey. So we're hoping to have some next year. But yeah, so we have a lot of programs on campus. We have the Veteran and Family Resource Center, downstairs the health education that we bring in resources for the families. Whatever they need, we try to bring them in. So, and it's also a safe space for them to come and hang out if they want to. We do Cup of Joe down there. Right now we're doing it quarterly, so where they can come have coffee and donuts and just talk.
Very, very nice. And as I came on campus today, I noticed that the Welcome Center is all torn up. What's going on over there?
They are redoing the face of the Welcome Center.
That is really cool.
Which is Brian's building that he works in. So they kind of have it moved to the side where facility is right now. But they're putting in, they're taking down walls, opening up bigger, because that's also where our store is, where we sell a lot of our merchandise. And soon we're hoping to have a little convenience store in there because I'm sure Mike has told you this, that they have to drive into town if they need milk or bread or anything. And even though Eaton Rapids is a small town, it's still, they have to leave campus and go in. So we want to get those small things that they can just walk down to our Welcome Center and get, and it's convenient for them.
Very cool. That is going to be such a neat thing. And I've been here on campus enough to know what they had in that building. And I'm so excited to see what they're developing. Actually, Brian took me through there this morning and showed me where the walls were knocked down.
Does it look good?
Awesome.
Yeah, it's all open, man. It's going to be something totally different than what anybody's ever seen before. But it's a natural evolution of the National Home. It really is. But Angie, if there's a veteran under the sound of our voice right now that feels like maybe they're a good fit for the VFW National Home, I know you're always looking for candidates. How do they get involved? How do they get more information? And how difficult is it to have an opportunity to take part in what you offer here?
So the first step is you can go to our website, which is www.vfwnationalhome.org, and there's a Help Now button you can click on, or it has our 1-800 helpline number. And that's your first step, is to either call that helpline or to hit that Help Now button, and that starts the process. And so they can reach out to us. What we do is we make sure that they qualify for the program. And the 3 lanes of eligibility are that you're currently serving, which includes Guard and Reserve, that you're a veteran, or our 3rd lane is that your mom or dad served. And as soon as we verify that they qualify under one of those lanes of eligibility, we send them the application. The application is pretty in-depth. And then once we review the application, we set up 2 assessments. So it's 2 interviews. We dig deep into, their history.
Sure.
And everything. They have to have goals in place that they're going to come to the National Home to work on those goals. And so really, if you have goals in place and you need somewhere to go, some of the families we have here now are in the transitional phase where they got off of active duty and they just don't know where they want to go right now. And so they can come to the National Home. We know some of those families will only be here a year or 2.
Sure.
Or there could be families that are just really need financial help, need help getting a job. So they just have to have those goals in place. And if they're a great fit for the home, it takes about 30 to 45 days through the application process. But if they're also just need resources where they're at, we will also work with them off campus and we'll provide those resources. Our Veteran Resource Center is open to all veterans in the community. Our helpline is open to all veterans in the community.
Very nice.
And we're the only one in the country. So we take families from all over. So we like to get those out-of-state families.
Absolutely. Now, for those interested in getting more information on the VFW National Home, if they want to schedule a tour, because I assume this is open to the public for tours, or to make a donation, how do they get in touch with you? And after you're done with that, I want to make sure that we get that helpline number out there as well.
Okay. So they would just go to our website again. This is actually your department. So they would actually go to our website again, and I believe development's phone number is listed, and then they would call our development department if they wanted to make a donation to the National Home. And then they would also just call the National Home. Our main number's on there, and they would set up a tour. And then we always love visitors here. We always love to show off what we have here, and it also brings awareness to what we do here. So.
Most definitely. Angie Harkins, Brian Daniels, Luwann Randolph, Shawn Chilcutt, I can't thank you enough for your time today. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart. Would you please pass along my greetings and appreciation to your husband as well?
I will.
I appreciate that, and thank you all for coming in to talk with me today.
Sir.
And that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures with Jim Ervin. I want to thank each and every veteran out there under the sound of my voice, give you all a heartfelt thank you for your service once again. And I give you all my sincere appreciation and best wishes for Veterans Day 2024. Jim Ervin reminding you that keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, is my mission. And until next time, thanks for watching, and God bless our troops. Be well.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lcconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.